Greetings, my sexy audience. My name is Marty, and today we're going to be redoing the $400 gaming PC build I did back in January. So if you go and check out that PCPartPicker link right now, it is just way outdated, way overpriced, because right now it cost back then $400, now it is $460. And if you click on the PCPartPicker link for the $500 gaming PC build, for just $20 more, you get a much better computer. So I decided that just because I'm tired of all the comments saying that it's overpriced and that it's not $400, it's time to redo the video. So here it is, guys, a new $400 gaming PC build. Now before we start, a little disclaimer for all the new viewers. This video just includes the build, just the hardware, just the parts, nothing else. If you're new to PC gaming, you still need a mouse, a keyboard, a monitor, and also an operating system, so how you get those things is up to you. This includes just the parts. So with that being said, let's jump in straight into the build. And for the CPU, you're probably expecting me to go with another cheap quad-core AMD processor as I always do in my low-end builds, but today we're going to spice things up a bit. I chose the Intel Pentium G3220 processor. So yes, it's a 4th generation Haswell series Intel processor. I always go with AMD in my low-end builds because they're just so cheap, but this time we went with this one. So why did I go with this one? Well, it's going to tie in with the motherboard a little bit, but just to give you a few little things about the processor, it's again 4th generation Haswell series processor, the latest one that came out a few months ago. It is 3 GHz, it's a dual core, pretty cheap actually for an Intel. So yeah, it's nothing special, it's not an i3, i5, nothing terribly exciting, but it will still do everything it must do. Games, even modern, pretty high, pretty demanding games will still run pretty nicely on this one. You will still be able to do your normal everyday stuff on Windows, even some light editing and things like that. It will do them. The only thing it probably won't be able to do is live streaming, so for that you might actually want a low-end quad-core AMD, or maybe save up some money for a quad-core Intel, but other than that, everything will work just fine. For the motherboard, I chose the ASROCK H81M MICRO ATX motherboard. So here's the deal, this motherboard is an LGA 1150 motherboard, so it supports our processor, and the reason I chose this is because of that socket. It is the latest 4th generation Haswell series socket, so basically what that means is, well, yes, right now at the start you will have an Intel Pentium, but further down the line, if you get more cash, you can actually take that Pentium out and put in an i3, an i5, heck, even an i7 if you can, if you have the money. That means you can actually put in a i5 4670K or an i7 4770K, which are known as one of the best gaming / editing processors out there. You can overclock them, they're quad core, you can basically do whatever the hell you want with them, which is why I chose this Pentium motherboard with this socket. It is really, really freaking good. But back to the motherboard, it is a micro ATX motherboard, so it's really on the small side, but it does have all the latest technologies you could ask from it. It has PCI Express 3.0, SATA 3, USB 3, and of course it also supports, it has 2 DIMMs, 2 RAM stick slots, that supports up to 16 gigs, up to 1600 megahertz. And what else? What am I missing? Oh yes, it does have 2 PCI Express 3.0 slots, so you could really put in 2 graphics cards in it, but the only thing is it supports Crossfire but not SLI, so if you go AMD graphics cards you can put in 2 of them, but just because we have a budget of $400 we're not even going to be looking at that, because it's $400, you can barely build a normal gaming computer for this money. Where do you think about putting 2 graphics cards in there, seriously? So moving on, for the memory, I chose the G.SKILL RIPJAWS X Series 4GB DDR3 RAM stick. It's 1600 MHz, 1 RAM stick by 4GB, and there's really nothing bad to say. G.SKILL is a good company. RIPJAWS series, I've only heard good reviews about it. I'm actually using G.SKILL RAM in my own personal computer, although it's not this one. It's 1333 MHz, but still, it's a good RAM stick. Like there's nothing bad I can say about it. Once you get more money, you can buy another one of these, another one RAM stick like this. You can put it next to the original one you bought, and you're going to have 8 gigs in total. Sweet, right? So moving along, for the storage, no SSD in this build, obviously, because we just don't have the money to do it. But for the hard drive, I went, obviously, as almost always, with a Western Digital CAVIAR Blue. It's 1 terabyte, 3.5 inches, 7200 RPM, nothing bad to say about it. It just does what it has to do. 1 terabyte is completely enough for now. Like, games are starting to get bigger, but still 1 terabyte will be just enough. And once you get more money, you can either drop in an SSD or another hard drive. It's up to you. Then, next up, the heart of your gaming PC. If the processor is the brains, then this is your heart, the graphics card. And for the graphics card, I went with the EVGA GeForce GTX 750 graphics card. So basically, here's the deal. It was either this thing or an AMD R7 250X. Now, both cards are great. but this one is definitely better. It's also a little bit more expensive, so if, for example, if you're watching this video after a little bit of time and it's already a little bit too expensive and you need to change something, you can change a lot of parts, but one thing you could change is also the graphics card, and we'll go with the R7250X. But for now, I highly suggest you going with the GTX 750. Here's the reasons. It does, I believe, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it has actually less memory. This 250X, I believe, has 2 GB of GDDR5. This has only 1 GB of GDDR5, which is not that great, but it's going to be enough. I mean, come on, you're having a $400 gaming PC build. What did you expect? But it has 128-bit memory bus. Yeah, that's kind of normal. No SLI support, so even if this motherboard would have supported SLI, you would not be able to do it with this graphics card, sadly. But here's the good parts. First off, the power. It uses so little power, it's ridiculous. I believe its TDP was like 55 or 60 watts. It's nothing. You don't even need to put in a 6-pin power connector. That's how little it uses. And this thing can play Battlefield 4 on medium settings at 1080p over 60 FPS. And that is also one of the reasons I chose this over the R7250X, because that thing, on the same settings, can play Battlefield 4 at around 45 frames per second. That's 15 frames per second less. And in almost every single game, in every single example, this 750 NVIDIA graphics card gets from 5 to 20, even 20 FPS more than the R7250X, with the few super rare examples where the R7 actually wins with 1 or 2 frames per second more in super AMD, what was the word I'm looking for? Super AMD optimized games, that's what I was trying to say. And let's not forget the real reason I absolutely adore GeForce cards, and I think you're going to like this too, is of course GeForce Experience with GeForce NVIDIA Shadowplay in it. That thing, it's just a free recording software, which is probably the best recording software out there right now. They keep updating it and making it just better and better and better. And you can literally just play any game you want, get a cool moment, press a button, and up to the last 20 minutes you played are now saved on your hard drive in video format, and you can do whatever the hell you want with them. You can literally start making videos with thanks to this amazing graphics card. And actually, this gameplay you're watching right now is recorded with Shadowplay with my personal GTX 650 Ti boost. It's absolutely amazing. So that's why I chose this graphics card. It's really cool. And yes, but again, if you do want, you can take the R7250X. Maybe once you get further down the line, more money, you can put in 2 R7250Xs and put them in Crossfire. But for now, just because we're not thinking about Crossfire, and just because I personally like this card way more, we went with this GTX 750. So I talked a lot about the graphics card. Let's finish this off with the power supply and the case. So for the power supply, of course, nothing special. I went with the CORSAIR CX430 80+ bronze certified ATX power supply. Nothing to say about this. Corsair is an amazing brand. 430 watts is going to be absolutely enough, because this computer uses an estimated wattage of 190 or 200 watts, which is just way less than the power supply actually gives you. And it's 80+ bronze certified, so it's a really efficient, really good power supply. Nothing bad to say it. Absolutely amazing. And with the case, last but not least, I usually go with black cases, I don't know why, but I decided to spice things up a little bit today. Just like with the Intel processor, I went with a black and white case, and that is the TherMalTake Commander MS Snow Edition. So it's a white and black ATX mid-tower case, and it has all the standard things you can ask from a case. A little bit of cable management support, a couple of 5¼ inch bays, a couple of 3½ inch bays. It does have a few pre-installed fans, and I don't know if this had some LEDs. I don't think this had LEDs. Maybe it does. Check some videos or some photos. And also it does have front panel USB 3, just in case anyone needs that. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good case. And so that's the build, and in total, right now as I'm making this video, this build costs $378. But keep in mind, there's a lot of Baylin rebates, a lot of promos, a lot of discounts already right now as I'm making this. So you might come and watch this video later at a few days, weeks, months later and see that it's actually over $400. That is possible. Don't come and rage at me saying that I suck, that I can't make builds in the budget. Time goes on, shit changes, prices change, and that's why it can go lower, it can go higher, anything can happen. So keep that in mind. Again, if that does happen, you can change some stuff out. You can put in R7250X as the graphics card. You can maybe change the RAM. Maybe you can put in a different case, because this case isn't a cheap one. You can get a cheaper one which has no cable management, no USB 3 and things like that. So yeah. But anyways, guys, my name is Marty. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like rating down below to support the series. And if you have any questions, or maybe you have some requests for a specific price range, like, I don't know, maybe you want me to make a super expensive build, like $2,000, leave all that information in the comment section down below. But my name is Marty, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.